Hello everyone. In this video I'll be translating the Urdu column by Orya Maqbool Jan to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the insights in Orya Maqbool Jan's words. The stories of countries being devastated, their resources plundered, and their people pushed into hunger, destitution, fear and disease are no longer hidden from anyone. The countries that have freed themselves from these plunderers are now visibly progressing rapidly, and the faces of the conspirators have also been exposed. For decades, an entire continent, South America, was left blood-soaked at the hands of these looters, economically ruined and socially backward. But eventually its nations threw off the yoke of American control and that of its multinational corporations, and today these countries are reaching the highest peaks of development. It is said that in a few years, even America's own stature may seem diminished in front of them. How are countries destroyed? How are poverty and destitution gifted to them? How are fear and terror imposed upon them? Who among their own people betrays them? And who are the ones pulling strings from outside? Let's focus on just one country's story and think, who looted us? How did they loot us? And who all were complicit in the crime? The country is Bolivia, a South American nation rich in mineral resources and blessed with water. It's also the land of Che Guevara, who, became a symbol of resistance across the world. Although it's a country of just 10 million people, it is rich in oil, gas and most importantly tin. Tin is known as the gold of minerals. Bolivia is a mix of various ethnic groups where 34 regional languages are spoken. However, being a former Spanish colony, the national language is Spanish. From 1533, Bolivia remained under Spanish slavery for 250 years. Then, in 1809, its people began the struggle for freedom, finally achieving independence in 1825. But as global powers left, they gifted the country a legacy of regional wars. Bolivia remained at odds with its neighbors, Chile and Argentina. Because of this state of war, the external threat and its vast mineral wealth, the United States and its multinational companies began to salivate over Bolivia. To counter the threat of war, there was a need to strengthen the military, an opportunity for the CIA to step in. In 1960, it began supplying money and training. To destabilize the country from within, it was important to portray a domestic enemy as a major threat. Hence, communist guerrillas were declared enemies of progress and stability. The military was made to fight them under the name of internal security. CIA officers and military personnel began operating the country. It was CIA officer Felix Rodriguez who shot Che Guevara in the leg, captured him, and then handed him over to the Bolivian military firing squad, who riddled him with bullets. In 1980 and 1981, rigged elections were held to disillusion the people with democracy. A new breed of politicians was created. Those who danced to America's tunes were dishonest and whose loyalties lay outside the country. Some of these politicians were retired generals. The military repeatedly took over the government, and when it became clear that the politicians were in their grip, the military began using them to serve their own interests and those of the United States. John Perkins, in his book Confessions of an Economic Hitman, details how this was done. He was sent by the United States to ensure economic control over the country. First, he persuaded local businessmen to participate in the privatization of Bolivia's industrial and mineral resources. Privatization incentives were promoted as foreign investment opportunities. Politicians were given stakes in these companies. Their children were sent to elite American universities, funded by these same companies. At the same time, the World Bank and IMF introduced a three-point economic program: good governance, strong economy, and structural adjustment. These programs led to relaxed tax laws and currency deregulation. In the first phase alone, 5 major companies were sold at dirt-cheap rates to foreign investors. In the name of foreign investment, the people were effectively sold out. In just 20 years, over 150 domestic companies were sold to foreign corporations. All of this occurred under so-called democratic governments, which relied on a powerful military to stay in office. The military in turn kept frightening them with domestic guerrillas or external threats. Eventually, all national resources were under United States and multinational company control. Politicians and generals became incredibly wealthy, and all their wealth was stashed abroad through these foreign companies. In 2000, the public took to the streets. The reason? A foreign company had bought the country's water resources and doubled the prices. Protests erupted again and again. The CIA, military and politicians kept branding the movement as one backed by cocaine traffickers and tried to crush it. But eventually, in 2004, the protests began to yield results. Out of these protests emerged a leader who won the 2006 election by a landslide. Standing on a historic site in front of a crowd of millions, he took oath and immediately removed the American noose from Bolivia's neck. He nationalized the gas industry. The once powerful military could do nothing in the face of public anger. Even the soldiers themselves took control of the gas wells. The foreign companies were given 180 days to renegotiate their contracts. All contracts signed by the corrupt politicians were annulled. New deals were struck, this time in Bolivia's interest. That man was Evo Morales, the one who expelled America from his country, and within just 3 years he achieved more progress than Bolivia had seen in the last 50. Most importantly, this progress directly improved the lives of ordinary people. Today, Bolivia is marching on the road to development. This is the story of just one of many countries that freed themselves from the clutches of the CIA and multinational corporations. Many others are now standing at the door of liberation. How similar these stories are to ours. The same pain, the same fears, the same misfortunes. But a surging sea of people can wash all this away, and right now that sea is swelling in my own country. It is rising, ready to become a wave, eager to crash upon the shore. The day it strikes, no one will be spared. Not the domestic agents, not the CIA operatives, not the politicians bought and sold, and not the soldiers who rely on them. That wraps up our translation of Orya Maqbool Jan's column. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.